Okay, welcome everyone to today's session. So today we'll be going to give an overview of time series econometrics and its terminologies which are relevant for our next sessions. So first of all, before we starting some advanced topics, we'll start with its definitions. So time series econometrics is actually talks about it study time series econometrics studies the data which is varying over time. So actually the main theme of this time series econometrics is that within the data there is some uh, hidden pattern that is because of time. So in this time series econometrics, the the major driving force of the data is the changes in the time. So if you see any data time while we are only focusing on one cross section, so in in most cases cross sections are constant. So it means we are only we are taking one cross section at a time, and we are exploring the horizon. Means we pick one country or one company or one region, and then see how it is changing over time. So because of that, there's one dilemma. So there's one dilemma of time series data that so because let me tell why it is dilemma. So this dilemma of time series data forces us to forego the OLS model, as we are now not able to fulfill one of its important assumption. Okay, so let's go over that assumption first of all. So assumption is, let me write it here. I will write it in rough quotation. So assumption was that the data must be fixed in repeated sampling. So if you open Gujarati Econometrics, you will find that this is the one of assumption that is being discussed in that OLS properties in its first few chapters. So what is meant by that is must be repeated. So this means that if we uh, get a time machine and repeat repeat the year, the last year which we had already passed, we would not be able to improve the outcome. So this assumption means that if you have given the time machine and you go back and repeat the year again, you will not be able to improve the results that are already there. So it means that if we repeat the financial year of Pakistan, we would not be able to improve the GDP value that all the resources of the country were able to make jointly. Realistically, this assumption is not uh, it's not possible that if you have any mean to repeat the time period and you are able to not to improve or not to change the condition, even though you knew how to improve it, because you are human. So So this assumption is only possible if we are a machine and we do not have any interest in maximizing our gains or minimizing our losses. So it means, let's suppose we pick up one example. Let's pick that it's a computer. Let's take an example. Let me select. So let's let us consider an example of a computer, and we are now assessing how much time it takes to uh, operate any given procedure, and assuming human interaction is not uh, slowing it down, then every time we uh, ask computer to do that operation, it will not try to improve the time it takes to solve or fulfill that operation. It will do it at the same time every time. So there is no will in the machine to try to um, uh, do it better. So it's the greed of humans to improve upon their experience so that they can extract higher utility or gains from the action that they take. So it means, so if you have a data which is a time series data, then definitely what will happen that if the data is repeated considerable times, then uh, so if the data is changing uh, for long time periods, we will notice that there is a pattern in the data which is explained by the time itself. We call it human experience learning behavior. So what does it mean that? So it means when we are in time series domain, so we end up incorporating a new variable in the model indirectly that uses that represents the human experience. So the more the human experience, more the level of experience in the human being, the more he will be able to modify the new GDP value or the new outcome value as compared to previous value. So it means if you ask a human to repeat his action again and again, he will not be able to do it in same time period. A motivated human will try to do it faster or better, and a demotivated human will depreciate in terms of of his efficiency to do that task. It means time will represent the learning portion of, or the learning returns of the human of repeating same thing and again and again. So it means that the action will uh, move out of brain and get into the motor, we call it muscle memory. It means that you don't never think about how to open a door or how to pick up a glass or how to eat. That action becomes the action that is already what you call it, already optimized. It becomes a muscle memory, and just like a computer. But all the actions where there is room for improvement, they will change time. So my memory, the action which is optimized by human experience will move uh, into the muscle memory. So and other will remain in the human brain component where he will learn and improve the outcomes. So we this way we came to know that now we cannot use OLS, because OLS was assuming that we are actually machines and we will not think to change the pattern. So let's now use the technical words. So OLS was assuming that the production function of the data, that the data from where it is coming from is constant. So the way the data is being created, it has some production function, or in statistics we call it distribution, or in the general words I usually use it. It's cooking formula, how it is cooked, how it is prepared. So the production function and cooking formula is constant. Means every time you use the same method, do the same thing, with me you take same time to do the same action. So there is no change in efficiency or errors or performance. But in real life, what the example where, so from example we learned that that humans have do not stick to a constant production function. So there are some instantaneous factors which are his mood, his feelings, his luck. What we can use these words, that he's not in a mood, so his performance is bit down, or he's feeling very good, so he's performing good. So these are instantaneous factors, and there are some permanent factors like experience, teamwork, combinations, and resources. So they change over time. So these factors explain his change in his performance. So it means these instantaneous factors and the permanent factors explain why humans are not able to uh, perform perform similarly perform in a similar way. So this way, so this is what we discuss here. So let's move to the next point. So next topic next point we are discussing is the type of independent variables, that the type of variables that we come across in time series. So we have a handout that we are discussing here. So let's go towards that handout and let's see what are the independent variables. So this is the independent list of independent variables that we come across when we are working in the time series environment. So first is the autoregressive variable, which is the lag of independent variable. So if you are actually measuring the effect of past of your behavior, it means, and your behavior is dependent variable, and you're trying to measure the effect of its past on present. Why you want to measure it? Because you think that behaviors are persistent. So actually autoregressive function will measure persistence in the data, how the past is explaining the present. If past is explaining, if past is significantly with the explaining the present, it means there is a high persistence. Second is distributed lag variables. This is the lags of other independent variables that explain. So it checks the effects of other variables in the past. Okay, so that is, so for example, you are saying that your behavior today depends upon the the action taken by your superiors yesterday or the previous time period, or your performance today affected by the appraisals or salary rise given to you last year. So you are happy today because you were being you were given a pay rise because of good performance. So because of that, you are happy now and you are performing more. So that is a distributed lag effect. So then there's a moving average. Moving average is the effect of any random shock. So you can other way write it as that the effect of all possible past values on present value is moving average. So, but in simple word, we say that if you want to see that how sensitive is your behavior is to the random shocks or volatility, we measure using moving average. So it means so it means a variable will be affected by past using three ways. Its own past of other variables, and a random shock. So there are three components: its own past of independent variables, past of shocks. So this way, and then there, what are other variables that we use? That is difference. Difference variable is that present value minus past value. We call it first difference or difference variable. So it's usually written as first difference. It measures the rate of change. So we also use it to calculate growth rates, rate of change, to check the effect of growth. If you use this variable as an independent, you actually measure effect of growth or rate of change, or you already discussed the growth. Okay, so next variable is deviation. So deviation is different from difference. Deviation is actually, so difference is y2 minus y1. So new value minus old value. Okay, and deviation is y2 minus y bar, means y minus its average. Okay, so difference from the variable to a certain constant. If it is a mean, we call it mean deviation. If it is a median, then median deviation, or any reference point that you can make. So it's a deviation. It checks the effect of change in the situation as compared to some reference value. Okay, so it's so deviation will measure the effect of any change from some reference value. Okay, and then there's a dummy variable which we can use to as a qualitative variable, and it can measure some discrete quality, it can measure some regime, it can measure some structural break. So this will be used in this model. Then there is a trend variable. So in cross section, you never notice that there is a variable called trend or a time variable, but in time series, this is a major variable that is being used. So trend variable measures role of continuous quality. So in other words, you can say it is experience. It is measuring experience. Then there is a model. There is a variable called Garch. Garch is actually the volatility of the past shocks. So we can call it variance of error term in the equations. It measures the effects of changes in dispersion or it to measure the spread or uncertainty in past shocks. If you already know in real life you will have shocks. So if the shocks are too much widespread, so it's there is high uncertainty that what kind of shock will hit. So that is measured using the so moving average is measured using past error term. So volatility is measured using variance of past error term. So then there is nonlinear independent variable. We use a scale or a cube form of independent variable. We already discussed in the previous session that it measures the if it is a square form, square measures the self moderation, or in economics we discuss it that it is measuring the increasing or decreasing return to scale on the dependent variable. Then there is an interactive dummy. We already discussed that if there are two dummy variables and they are interacting with each other, we multiply it with each other, or if the independent dummy variable is multiplied with the independent variable. We already discussed in the previous session where we talked about the how we added the control variables. So that session talked about the interactive dummy. Then we are talking about cross products, which was already discussed in that session too. So when two independent variables are interacting with each other, so it's called moderator model. So one independent variable is a moderator to another independent variable, or another way we call it catalyst variable, or we use the word that is used about complement or a substitute variable. So complement means it is the cross product is positive. Substitute means it is reducing the effect. So it is cross product is negative. So this way, these are the possible variables that we discuss in time series framework. So in simple words, we can say that these are the possible transformations used in time series to and they are intended to capture a specific effect. So it mainly depends upon the literature. So now we have already discussed the variables for which the variables we are commonly using in time series. Now we define the types of patterns that we observe in a data. So in time series data. So let's add here discussion here. So I will add one by one and then I will tell what kind of data it is. So let's make small graphs. So in time series, what will happen that time will be as an independent variable, and the variable that we are discussing will be in a x-axis, that will y-axis, that will be variable that we are under discussion and we are discussing it. So for each graph it will be the scale. So what time will be on x-axis and the variable will be on y-axis. So so first of all, the first thing that we discuss is the data has some mean value. Okay, so mean value if and it will be horizontal line. let's change some other color. So data has some mean value, and this will be the data horizontal line, because mean value is a constant number, so it's a mean value. And in econometrics or in theory we call it we can write it here. So mean of variable is actually equal to the long run value. Okay, so so this line is the long run value, or the stable value, or we call it stable value, or we call it a fundamental value. So in finance we use the word fundamentals. In statistics we use a stable value. In economics we use the long run value, or in other words, in simple jargon we call it is the habit of data. Okay, so first type of pattern is the horizontal line. Second pattern is that we discuss is the actual data that may increase or decrease. So let me change the color. So second line will be green, so it's increase. So let's write it in same color. That so this line shows the trend of the data. So and what does it mean? It shows the rate at rate of increase or decrease. Okay, so and this is the second component in the data. Let's add another graph to increase discuss. Let's so then after that the third type is the seasons or cycles. So the data can be like this. Okay, so I should have taken another color. Let's add another color. So let it write it in blue, purple. So data can be moving like this. So these are cycles. Okay, so let me write it here with color. So it represents these cycles of data. Cycles represent the in economics or finance we call it business cycle. So where there are the high points are called peaks or booms, and the low points are called troughs. The peaks and the low points are called recession. Okay, so there are 2 points. So this is the third component of the data. So the mean and trend, and then cycle, and after that the other component is the let me add with some other color. I will use brown. Okay. Okay, let me change the color of the old one first so that it does not get mixed up with the yes. So let's go back to line and change it color to brown. So within these cycles there is this, we call it shocks, or we call it volatility or shocks. So data has the fourth component, shocks. So this is the pattern of a data. There are four things in within a data. First is mean, then trend, then cycle, then volatility. Now let me save it. Then we'll go towards the there are few more discussion topics within the pattern of a data. Let's go. Let's have a look. So let's draw the graphs again with black color. So now we are discussing the patterns of data with respect to its rate of change, how they are changing or how they are evolving in time. So for that, what I will do is I will add a mean value line as a benchmark. Okay, so red is a mean, and this graph as y-axis is the variable and x-axis is time. So one variable can be we can call it uh, converging, and it's uh, like this. It is going variable is going down and going towards its mean value. So the variable value is coming down and going towards its mean value. So it's a, we call it smooth slash gradual converging change. It means that if the mean value is the target, then it is gradually going towards the mean value. So it's a slow and gradual convergence towards the mean. Second type can be that I will take purple color. It can be like this. So let's what is this? What is this property? This is a cyclical. So the dampening cyclical change, cyclical and converging change. Okay, so the change can be gradually going towards equilibrium, and it can be cyclical and going, and there's an opposite of it that I will draw it on the other side. So let's like some other color, orange. So it can be like this going away. So let me talk about, so this is a variable that is diverging or exponential, or let's write it as similarly. So exponential diverging variable. So it is going away from the center or the behavior that we assume that it should have. The last type is sleep green. So in the last type, it's like it is like, so it is getting bigger. So if I explain these, so it is explosive cycle, cyclical change. So it is going away from the mean value, and the cycles are becoming bigger and bigger. So these are two the types of behavior of a data. So that when we use these terms, you will understand how to interpret or what to do with the data. So this was the pattern level. Next is that we are going to discuss is that what is the, let's add heading here, purpose of the time series models. So time series model has first of all, it has the major purpose of time series model is that we already discussed. The main purpose of the TS models is that it assesses the before and after effect of any change that has happened in time. So, so what do I meant to say is the time series model, because it has only one cross section. So and time is changing. So time series model are actually there to measure before and after effect. Okay, so of any change. So in a data, if there is something changing, so we can measure the before and after effect. Secondly, since the time is continuous in the TS models as compared to two time period model of cross section, hence we can assess the continuous before and after effect in this case. So this way, so the time is changing. So every time there's a new event. So there's a new change. So you can have uh, uh, you can have a continuous assessment of before and after. So you can say that the effect of experience on his performance. So every year there's a new experience that he's getting added. So every year there's a new effect. There's a new, so every year there's a new before and a new after. So this effect continues and rolls over till the data exists. So this way we measure, we see the assess purpose of time series models. In time series models, now there are three major categories that we will cover, and there may be many more, but in the basic time series econometrics, these are three. So first is called time series, stationary time series. So it talks about the movement of the data in time where they their distribution is constant. So we study those variables with their movement in time, but their distribution remains constant. So when it will remain constant, so it will study, it will cover those variables which are smooth, converging, or or dampening, damped, cyclical data sets. So all the data which even if they change, but they come back to the mean value again. So it means you will observe the change, but in the next time period it will reverse, and it will try to reverse the change. So it will go back to the mean value again. So it is a so for these types of data set we use uh, stationary time series models. So it means in this case, the data is resistant. Data is not, is randomly changing around its mean value, and ideally, and that mean value is actually the ideal data point. Hence, no human intervention is applied to change the mean value. So let's assume another example. Let's take an example for that. So example is the temperature or of human being, or the body temperature of human being. So ideally, we say it should be 36 degrees. So humans are a healthy humans body temperature will revolve around the ideal temperature, and human will human even though he is getting experience, he will not try to change that mean value because he knows that he may get ill because of this. So if the data set is already tuned to its optimal or ideal value, so you will not try to change it. So another example is the quality control charts which businesses use. So in those charts, they have the ideal benchmark in the middle and the changes in the actual incidence presents the quality of the production unit. So they try to make sure that it goes up back to the mean again. So no one intervenes to change the ideal benchmark. So this way, this is two examples where stationary time series data is applied, where the ideal value is already being achieved and human behavior does not want to deviate from that point. So or in other words, it is actually, let me change the font. So so it they comprise, this comprise of those variables which are in the what we call it, in the relative form, without a form where their decrease or increase does not merit the human being, or these variables are already being optimized by humans, so there is no incentive to deviate. So these are the variables where they are happy that they don't need to change it anymore. So their knowledge, the present knowledge is telling them that it is optimal. So next is the non-stationary time series. It talks about the movement of the data in time where the distribution is not constant. So means hence in every new time period the data is following a new set of protocols or conditions which are because of change in the environment, experience and resources. So data is changing. So there are the other two types that we discussed. So it covers the exponential, diverging and explosive cyclical data sets. Now the question comes here is how to identify which one is stationary, which one is not. So we will go towards these tools that is being used. So we'll discuss it today. So hence in these data sets, in this non-stationary time series, the mean value of the data is function of time itself. So every time you will look at the data, its mean value will be different. So uh, so uh, so example, let's go towards its example. So its example is the GDP, income, consumption, firm share price, firm market value. Uh, for these variables, humans tend to maximize them as more the merrier. Means more is better. So they will try to increase. So you will always see that it is changing over time. So human experience will improve it. So let's summarize it using the italic form that we used earlier. So so this comprise of those variables which are in absolute form so that humans are able to compare it with ideal benchmark, compare distance its distance from the ideal benchmark, and for these variables the interventions have been applied to modify the natural cause of action of the data, but the ideal value has not been achieved yet. So the intervention process is still going on. So this describes the non-stationary time series. Okay, so let's continue to the last topic. So that then there is a volatility modeling. So it discusses those data sets where the frequency is very high, like daily, weekly, or monthly data. So above two models are mostly for biannual or annual data sets. So if the data is daily, weekly, or monthly, what will happen? It will represent the instantaneous changes in the data. So we will experience highly volatile data if we observe uh, at original frequency, but if we take an average for the year, we will notice that it is a stable data. Means it has a mean value, and with constant mean value. So it's high frequency data. So the examples include share price, temperature, that are mostly recorded daily. So you will see that the value or share price, temperature, and currency rates, gold prices, oil prices, etc. So they are volatile in nature. So there's something new added in this data set. That is that their volatility is also, so the dynamics of instantaneous effects that we discussed in the variables, the instantaneous behavior that we discussed somewhere here. Let's see where it was. Yes, instantaneous factors. So when the frequency is very high, the instantaneous factors are significant. They play their role. So when we are studying the data with high frequency, you end up handling the instantaneous factors, and for that we make models appropriately. So this is the summary of time series models. So hopefully you understood the overview, and in next time we will be using our studio to use these terminologies and apply appropriate models.